Where do I start? Because we should start with UV and Flex and Ben Jacobs, because I thought that was some sensational journalism right there. Flex, well done, exclusive. And the takeaways, the major moments of what's been said there, and I'd like to get you lot's thoughts as well, is they're waiting for the Bruno green light. That's what's going on right now. They gave Bruno the time, and literally the agent has been there for almost a week. Now, for the people that said that he's not going, there's no interest. You know, if you're not interested, yeah, I don't think you're staying a week. Personally, I don't know that. I don't know how you lot understand stuff, but that don't make sense to me. There's something you clearly want from this business dealing. A week is a long time to just be there like, yo, nah, what's going on? Simple as that. What is going on? You know, because end of the day, like they're interested. And Ben Jacobs clever as well. I like the way he broke it down, talking about Bruno being smart, saying it will be a United decision if United want to get rid of me. Nobody says after a final, if somebody wants to get rid of me and rebuild, I understand. Brother, don't try it. Don't. Like, I'm cool with Bruno, but it's a clever move. You don't say that for no reason. Man United could have thrown away this story a long time ago, but they never did. Why? Because there's genuine interest from everyone involved. Bruno and his family, generational wealth. That's a big part. Not about the money. Come on. That's a lot of money. Don't tell me you're offering me that much money. It's not about the money is going to be on the table. The situation of the club, are they going to be ready to be to compete? That's another part. Again, the Saudi, like how he's broken it down with the fund that they've been given. They've been given funds, allocated funds, kind of like the council when they start digging up the roads and they have to spend the budget, or they're not going to get a budget like that next time. They have money to burn. The Salah money is burning a hole in their pocket. Man United is the first offer. So yes, it's 80 million at the moment, as he's saying. But again, the tables will switch when they start to realize Bruno wants to come. Well, the only thing that's holding us back is Man United, and Man United on the basis of, well, it's their most important player, and you lot got a tournament that you want to play soon. Cough up the bread. 110 million, please. 120 million, please. I don't know if you're going to get more than that, because again, they did speak about the Tony and the Osimhen deal where they just decided to go for the cheaper option. To be honest, though, when I heard the other names, I heard Osimhen's a great name to add to any team, to be honest. That is a worry. But you're saying Bruno versus Tielemans, Bruno, please. Bruno versus Edison, Bruno, please. Bruno versus the players that they're talking about, Barella, like, they're good players, don't get me wrong. They're good players. But then again, do you want someone that is a major jewel? Yes. Bruno's got years. He's the A option. There you go. He's the A option, right? So it makes all the sense in the world to go for a Bruno. Man United can't be greedy. We can't be greedy, yeah? But we got to get what's right. We have to get what's right. So I will leave, literally, that's pretty much there. They need an answer in 7. You lot, go and make sure you watch the interview. I thought they've done a great job on UV, actually, our home. But yeah, go and check it out if you haven't seen it. I think it's riveting, really. And then they get into the whole Osimhen thing. Osimhen, Saudi being his #1 destination. I know a lot of people are saying turn your eyes to the likes of Osimhen, but there's a lot going on in the Saudi league anyway, which again, I was a little bit privy to when I went to Riyadh FC and they talked about the plans. I knew early they weren't signing no Kevin De Bruyne. And I thought, that's strange. Kevin De Bruyne is the right, like, you usually do stuff like that. And I said, nope, we have different interests right now. Young players, the right players that got enough longevity for this league. We're done with the retirement home FC. We want players now, like, we want those ones. We want to compete for the big names in football. We don't want to, like, players that other teams will try to sign now is what they're looking for. That's what they told me when I was there. And you're kind of seeing now that this is the plan. Now, where it gets interesting, though, is the whole Ronaldo situation. Ronaldo does want to play in this Club World Cup situation. Now, the options are there, you know, Al Hilal. So when Osimhen, where's Osimhen really getting? There's another team, though. Let me get that. I don't want to mess it up, but there's another team out there that he's interested in too. There's two of them that's involved in this competition, right? Bruno could potentially be linking up with Ronaldo. Imagine. Imagine that. Just imagine. Great for the league. Great. The nation doesn't want to lose a special player like that. You're telling me these two could link up again? That's on the table. That's on the cards. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how the dominoes and how these things can fall can affect the rest. Well, especially Man United for sure. But imagine now, Bruno, that there's a chance of playing with a player like that. You know, again, the game is different. Now, where I want to pivot though is I want to leave Bruno to one side and I want to focus on INEOS, yeah? Because I think it's about time that INEOS have got our attention. I think it's beyond time INEOS have got our attention. And do you know what's disgusting? And I don't care like if the media feel a certain way about this. Earlier, when we first introduced the thing of Qatar, you know, Saudi and the world, all this other stuff that was going to be owned by, right? Everyone was up in arms about, you know, what they're going to do to the club, how they'll destroy the tapestry of football, this, that, and the other. There was so much to say. The media as well, they was at it, writing articles upon articles of why not them, why Sir Jim will be better for Man United. Well, let's just look at that, because let's look at how INEOS have behaved since they've arrived. All they promised, put Manchester United back in Manchester. Well, let's look at some of the decisions they made. Hiked up season ticket prices. Disgrace. Would the Qatar fund have done that? Absolutely not. The women's team, treated like total scumbags. Don't even recognize their own players in that. Losing talent. Would Qatar have done that? Absolutely not. We're talking about job layoffs. Bare people losing their jobs. Would Qatar have done that? Absolutely not. Let's keep going as well. Youngsters for sale. Youngsters like are players with some talent that you can have a look at the thing. Are you gonna kite? Could you make it as a Man United player? Would the others have done that? No chance. Selling the captain. You're supposed to bring in players to make the captain, like, you're supposed to help the captain, bring in more talent that it works so they can play together and, you know, you develop the squad, not even have to sell. Would the others have done that? Absolutely not. We'll keep going. Again, this postseason tour, under them lot, no chance in hell. Done a review, strategic review. Let's really look at that. Done a strategic review because they didn't like Ten Hag when he first came in. Bought Ten Hag a bunch of players, sacked the manager. Wasted your time. What kind of strategic review was you having in there to get rid of him anyway? You're not serious. There's a job, like, decision upon decision is a nasty one. Let's get into the Dan Ashworth thing. You chased Dan Ashworth for so long, he's on gardening leave. I think he was in gardening leave longer than he was in his post at Man United. He's on gardening leave longer than he was in his post at Man United. Brought him in, got rid of him. It's a disgrace. We'll keep going though. Managed to attract one of the world football's exciting managers. One of world football's exciting managers, unbeaten in his, like, the guy is doing a madness, mashing up Man City, doing well. Turn him into Moisey. Turn him into a version of Paul Jewell. That's what we've done. Moncler Moisey. Turn him into Versace Paul Jewell. How? In a short space of time. Man, them don't trust Amorim. That takes a special type of club to do this. Because why? Didn't give him what he needed. Allowed Rashi, allowed Anthony to go out the door, fine. Where's the other names that come in? You already know that he hasn't got the pieces, and you give him less. But then again, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know shit. Bro, we can continue though. Let's continue. There's even the factor of how scamming the fans. The fans, you've had the shittest season in world football. We've had our worst finish under INEOS. The worst finish in the modern era. through my lifetime, this is the worst finish I've ever seen. This has happened under INEOS watch. While they say Glazers not that bad, you don't get to say Glazers not that bad when you can say, they employed people. End of the day, you put those people there. Why do you remove them? They don't get to show no accountability and move like there's nothing to do with them. Situations that are happening now has everything to do with INEOS. INEOS Glazers, however you want to talk about this new structure, it is a disgrace. Again, there was so much people stuff to say. Imagine now, you compare it to, the only thing that they've done, they're just British. That's all Sir Jim has done that's good. He's just been British. Because imagine if Qatar did this. 1% barbecues. What are we talking about? Players having to pay to go to the final for their staff. What are we doing here? INEOS, you got to get your act together because you sold us a dream. You've sold us a dream. I'm still seeing adverts for the new stadium, yeah? We're getting adverts. Where's the revenue coming from? We can't keep the lights on. We're talking about rebuilding the squad and we can't rebuild the squad. We're now having to sell our marquee player. Now, I understand it. I understand the deal. It's not about that. It's really looking at INEOS as a group and saying, you're taking the effing piss. You have to be. Sir Jim, you've come in here. If you knew you couldn't manage, if you knew the finances weren't what the finances need to be, why'd you buy the club? Why? Is this a vanity piece? What is going on? This club needs a serious overhaul. Now, we're in a space where to do that, but we didn't expect to do it like this. Not like this. And next season is so important. Amorim, I don't really know if Amorim's going to be the guy, but you need to back this man to the hill. And you're talking about we're going to be prudent, and it's going to be a frugal summer. Frugal what? Big man, go and get this man's targets. Get this man what he needs. You pulled him out to come now. It's now or never. Well, don't now or never me and never bring signings. Don't take the piss. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say. I think it's a disgrace, though. I honestly think it's a disgrace. These lot, they're getting away with it. They are getting away with it. Then you're gonna have a party for the players as well. What about the women's team that are actually successful, bro? How dare that first team get a party, bro? Party? If anyone should be having a party, they shouldn't be invited. Bring the youth. They done something to make this club proud. Bring everybody else but them. Russo goes and wins Champions League with. Are you lot serious? Are you lot? We're taking the fucking piss. That's what we're doing. And don't get twisted. It's not like I watched the women's game, but again, that's not my. Again, that's for me personally. That's not my. I don't own the club. But the way that they treat him like shit, everybody is treated like shit. But the Glazers just swan about, going places, doing absolute sweet FA. That's what's going on. You got Barada, you got them in India, some of the squad, they're all over the place right now doing rondos, meet and greets and that. When he should be working on transfer business. If Liam Delap, let's just imagine, as it was said before, Delap being one of your main people that you want to bring in. As soon as that final doesn't go away and we're now shopping in the bargain area, you can't be flying out. Send him the greatest proposal he's ever seen. Your number one target didn't end up with you. And it's not about, if you don't want him, I understand that. It's not about that. It's the actual attitude towards it. You're not serious. You can't be serious. You're out here. You're out there in Malaysia. Who's doing the proposal to tell this player, choose Man United, especially if you're short on striker options? Osman, as far as we're concerned, wants to play in Saudi. Gyökeres, I don't know what the hell Arsenal's doing. Yeah, I don't know what Arsenal's doing, but Gyökeres has pretty much said no to us-ish. There's not loads of strikers available. And guess what? We need a striker. What in the strategic review is going on to not see that? It's an absolute disgrace. Them man there, I'm beyond worried. Because we're going to get in this Bruno money, and what happens with the Bruno bread if these men are inept? What happens? Anyway, Joe, clip up that bit, bro. We'll put that out.